Hi everyone, James here. My latest short film, Departure, is out now. If you haven't checked it out, the link is in the description. In this video, I'll be showing you all a walkthrough of how I created Departure, and later in the video, I'll discuss the biggest mistake I made on this project and how you can avoid it. In the past, I made a short film called Boarding Party, which gained a lot of traction online, and so I did a few other videos before I got the idea to make another short film, which was a terrible idea, by the way, guys. Focus on smaller projects before branching out. Me and my good friend Paul, who makes all the music heard in my videos, we're talking about ideas for the next short film, and a short cinematic video following a ship traveling through the solar system. This idea would evolve later, but for the most part stuck. I began sketching early on, planning designs for the ship, and storyboarding. Sketching has been something I've been trying to get better at as I realize how important it is, but I think overall what I had worked, and it really helped me visualize early on what this was going to look like. The whole process of designing the ship was a hassle, and I really wish I had gotten through it faster, but in the end I'm happy with what I got. I made a short video on the process of designing the ship, but to sum it up, it was a lot of messing with the overall shape and then adding more details as it went on. From a design standpoint, it's objectively pretty bad, but considering how much of a creative rut I was in a few months ago, I'll let it pass. Blender as a software is pretty good, but add-ons can make it even better, and I used quite a few of those in the short film. For the camera, I use Camera Shakify, which is a free add-on by Ian Hubert, which in my opinion really immerses the viewer, and it adds a ton to what is otherwise rough keyframed motion. I also really like ProLens 2 by William Landgren, may he rest in peace. It gives the default bokeh for Blender a really nice realistic touch that you wouldn't otherwise have. A third add-on I used to detail the ship was Blender Guppy's Random Flow, which adds cool effects to the mesh, and I'm not quite sure if I use it right, but I think it's alright for quick and easy detailing on the whole of the ship. I also use Botanique for the plants and the cryo-containers, and I use flip fluids, which I'll talk about later on. After sketching and modeling some space stations, I got to work on the lighting and the environment setup for the first few shots. Sika designed the ships for the short film, and he did a truly fantastic job. He designed a photorealistic Saturn as well as a cool planet, which I cannot render a 360-degree turntable for because of how graphics hungry it is. I slowly worked on more shots, but eventually developed the idea that I would want an astronaut and a robot in the interior of the ship, meaning that I would have to develop a new interior design. I wasn't really sure, but I thought it would look cool, and it turns out that it would in fact look cool. I tried so hard to have the robot animated using pre-made mocap like the astronaut, like I did previously in Boarding Party, but the rig was set up in a way that made it difficult, and I ended up tackling my biggest fear in Blender without ever expecting to: animating by hand. This is something I'd been scared of for a while, not necessarily for any particular reason other than I assumed it would look bad. In the end, I spent more time looking for a way to put mocap data on the rig than actually animating it, and I was able to move the model exactly how I wanted to without any worries. So I'm pretty happy with how they ended up looking, especially since I was originally very worried about it. I do have to say, something that helped the animation a lot was the clean rig made by Nishan 3D. The robot, along with other cool models, can be found on his Patreon. I have some cool ideas for the future projects that involve animating by hand, so definitely stay tuned for that. A major time-saving measure I took on this short film was buying a spaceship interior model. Upon viewing it, I could definitely tell that it needed some touching up, so I fixed a few things and moved stuff around. I sadly had to say goodbye to the candy buttons, but I put these switches from Ian Hubert's Patreon in there to make it more realistic, as well as these cool canisters with plants inside. These canisters were modeled by the architect, linked to his channel in the description, and the plants are from the Botanique add-on, which has a lot of cool plants and even some cool grass and cacti. One really cool shot I was pushing to include was the shot with the coffee filling in the cup. I used the add-on flip fluids to simulate the coffee, giving it a very small amount of viscosity and a brown shiny texture. The cup I used was modeled by Easton Cinema, linked to his channel in the description. After that, I was mostly just rendering, color grading, and adding lens flares. The color grading and lens flares are done in After Effects using built-in effects, as well as the optical flares plugin by Video Copilot for the lens flares. The last major ingredient to this concoction was a fire soundtrack by Paul Cochran, who cooked this soundtrack up with over a month of experimenting and several drafts and additions that ultimately never made the cut. He is currently cooking a fire album, but the soundtrack for Departure is currently released as a single on YouTube and Spotify, link in the description. Like all big projects, there was a big lesson to be learned. On this particular project, I learned a major one, and I think a lot of you could benefit from it. I've done this on my other projects, and it's caused my project files to be impossibly large and laggy whenever I wanted to change anything. What I would do is duplicate the scene every single time I wanted to make a new shot. On the surface, it sounds fine. I want a different shot with different movement, and the linked scenes aren't going to work. Why render and start another shot? The issue is that duplicating a scene means that the textures and materials and models are all duplicated, and therefore every time they take up double, triple, and quadruple the storage. What do I do to prevent this? A great suggestion I received was to copy and paste models, but unfortunately this still duplicates the models and textures so that it really doesn't work. So I think for now, I'm just going to limit the amount of scenes I duplicate and take shots one at a time. That about wraps it up. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to smash the like button and hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss my future content, which, you know, it's going to be pretty cool. I have some ideas for for another short film and some other projects. It'll take a lot less time than before just because I was dealing with a lot of college stuff and personal stuff that's mostly out of the way now. So I should be uploading content much more regularly. I'm actually about to start working on some environments for the next short film, and also some Patreon videos, and some videos for the channel. So definitely subscribe because I got some really cool stuff because I got a lot of really cool stuff coming up. Let me cook. After scheduling, did I just say scheduling? This is what I get for playing Lethal Company until 1 a.m.
I'm gonna hit something. Let me walk a
So, let's be aggressive.
Oh, a key.
Oh, spider,
You
spider,
heard cats.
spider.
Oh, we were. Okay.
Right here.
This
Oh,
guy,
here, here.
come back.
Move back, move back.
Guys!
No! Oh, we got it, we got it.
Go, go,
Let's go.
let's go.